So the project I'm working on is really about being an independent woman, which I am. Women empowerment, just telling my story of where I came from and my journey as an independent woman, things I've been through, heartbreaks,
Uh,
that sort of thing. So
okay. And segue to that, since you mentioned the heartbreak thing, you did put on here. That's how you kind of got started with it. Like how
yeah.
long ago? How long ago was that? And what I would say what's transpired that for you to like put it into a song. And then another question to that, hopefully you get all of what I'm asking. And another thing to that, why hip hop and not R&B or country when that came about, and so forth.
So I started actually rapping in high school,
Okay.
just like freestyling, having fun. I was always like the female in a group of guys, like chilling.
Mhm.
And I just started doing it for fun. When I graduated, I ended up being in a long-term relationship for 8 years,
Okay.
and that kind of inspired me to my first song, Reality, which I wrote in 2019 into 2020.
Mhm.
I think I dropped it in 2020. I want to say
Okay.
maybe it was 2019. I'd have to go back and look. Maybe it was kind of a blur in there.
Okay.
But that really is what got me started. It was a pretty bad heartbreak for me, just
Mhm.
because it was my, first love. We were together since high school, that sort of thing. So that really is what got me taking it more serious. And basically, how that came apart is one of my friends actually recorded me. Wanted her to just record me like doing the song and wanted her opinion, but she put me on Facebook Live. I did
Okay.
not know she put me on Facebook Live, and I'm literally reading a notebook. So, but, it blew up, it got a bunch of views, a bunch of comments, and people were like, "Hey, you should really take this serious," and I'm like, "Hmm, okay, I'll give it a try," and from there, it just kinda blew up from there, and I was like, "Okay," and I started making more music, people started reaching out to me, promoters and that sort of thing, so I started just taking it more serious from there.
Okay. So, like, other than that, was it something that you weren't really thinking about taking serious? Just was something you were just doing for fun, especially in high school? Uh,
Yeah, I mean, I never imagined I would be where I am today with it, that's for sure, but I'm glad I did,
yeah.
because it's always been, kind of my escape for things. I always would just write, even if I wasn't writing music, I would just write, like, journal and stuff like that, poetry.
Mhm. Yeah.
So it was always a passion of mine, but I never thought it would be where I am today with it, so
Right. Okay, I got you, and I understand like those type of. I guess people like on the outside when they already know you and they see something in you and everything. Sometimes you can't really see it until somebody else say it, and make
right.
you not that you can't see it. It just really like shines a light on it and have you thinking a little bit more deeper on it because that's how it happened with me for as fitness coaching. Woman came to me, she was like, "You doing all this working out and." So have you ever thought about being a trainer? I wasn't thinking about it until that point.
Yeah.
And, so like I said, 12 years, over 12 years now, and everything still, been doing it ever since. But yeah, and also too, with pain, I understand how that can really like help us putting into not just like just putting into words, but another taking another step and putting it into a song that definitely can help wonders and can be therapeutic in a way, getting it off your chest, venting and everything, and not where not a lot of us do. And I feel like even if and what I would say too, and similar to that, where my grandma passed and so forth. But I don't want to get into the whole story, but I was like 6, and then fast forward, I was like 8, 9 years old. I was writing about her a lot in school, and the teacher was telling me, you're writing about your grandmom too much and so forth. And you know what I'm saying? I bust out crying. Don't tell me what to do. These my feelings and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But at the
exactly.
same time, she recognized my writing talents then. So that's
Mhm.
what I was. So what I'm getting at is that's when I would say my creativity was born. Then it was always run rampant on my mama's side of the family. A lot of us
Mhm.
are creative singers, musicians, artists, stuff like that. Mine was born at that time, right there, for the writing side, and then I found out I can do other things, drawing and stuff like that. So you really like, when other people see it in you, and it gets you to like go down a path that you didn't really like think you could go down until somebody like noticed it for you. So that's what I
Yep.
was saying. So
Yep.